The glass walls of the 42nd floor reflected the pale blue of a winter morning, and inside the boardroom, silence felt heavier than the city skyline outside. 8 men and women in tailored suits stared at a single red number glowing on the screen. $200 million. That was how much would vanish by sunset if no one could solve the problem. 7 top executives had already failed. The billionaire at the head of the table felt something rare tighten in his chest: fear. And then, from the corner of the room, the coffee girl cleared her throat and said one sentence that changed everything. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected heroes, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Life Spark Stories. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. Armin Kalim had built his empire from nothing. He grew up watching his mother stitch clothes by daylight and cry over unpaid bills at night. That hunger to escape poverty had pushed him to work harder than anyone around him. By 53, he owned a global logistics company, private jets, and a reputation for ruthless efficiency. Yet that morning, sitting under the soft white lights of the boardroom, all his success felt fragile. A risky overseas acquisition, rushed by market pressure, had turned toxic overnight. Regulators were circling, investors were panicking, and if Armin didn't find a legal workaround by the end of the day, the loss would cripple his company and thousands of employees would suffer. One by one, the executives presented solutions: complicated restructurings, aggressive legal threats, emergency sell-offs. Each idea collapsed under scrutiny. The air grew stale, the coffee went cold, and frustration etched deep lines on every face. Armin rubbed his temples, feeling the familiar ache of old stress injuries from years of overwork. He wasn't just fighting for money. He was fighting for the livelihoods of people who trusted him. Outside the windows, the city moved freely in daylight, unaware of the storm brewing high above it. In the corner stood Safia Noor, a 24-year-old contract worker responsible for refilling cups and clearing plates. She wore a simple beige uniform, her dark hair tied neatly back, eyes observant but cautious. To everyone else, she was invisible, another background figure blending into corporate routine. But Safia listened as she moved. She had grown up in a home where every decision mattered, where a single mistake could mean losing electricity or skipping meals. Her father once ran a small import business that collapsed due to a misunderstood clause in a foreign contract. She remembered the words that ruined him, even though no lawyer had caught them in time. As the 7th executive finished and silence returned, Armin felt defeat approaching. His shoulders slumped slightly, a posture he hadn't allowed himself in decades. Safia hesitated, her heart racing. She knew the rules. She wasn't supposed to speak, but she also knew what unchecked silence could cost. Her hands trembled as she softly pointed out that sometimes the most dangerous part of a deal wasn't what was written, but what was assumed. She mentioned that the acquisition penalty hinged on operational control, not ownership, and suggested temporarily transferring daily operations to a neutral local partner to freeze regulatory triggers. The room shifted, heads turned, confusion flickered, then curiosity. Armin straightened, his eyes locking onto the young woman who had dared to interrupt power with perspective. Advisors rushed back to the documents, scanning clauses they had skimmed over. Minutes stretched like hours, but the tension changed shape. This time it carried hope. The solution was simple, legal, and brilliant. By mid-afternoon, calls were made, agreements drafted, and the crisis dissolved under the bright clarity of day. $200 million saved, thousands of jobs protected. Armin watched Safia quietly gather empty cups, her face calm as if nothing extraordinary had happened. For the first time that day, he smiled, not the polished smile of a billionaire, but the grateful one of a man reminded of his own beginnings. He ensured her contract became permanent, funded her education in business law, and changed an internal policy forever, encouraging voices from every level to be heard. The company survived, but more importantly, it learned humility. As daylight softened into evening, Armin stood alone by the window, realizing success had once made him forget where wisdom truly lived. Not always in titles or corner offices, but often in quiet corners, carried by people who had learned from real loss. If this story touched your heart, reminded you of hidden strength, or made you believe that one voice can still matter, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories. Your engagement keeps these real, human moments alive. Special request: before this video ends, comment one word that this story made you feel.